So now in terms of don't have sex on the first date because he won't call you again. So I always believe that that advice is bad. Here's why. I do believe it's best not to have sex on the first date. I believe telling a woman that the reason why not to is because he won't call you is the wrong approach. Because too many women have seen other women have sex on the first date and get the phone call later, all right? And because, listen, if the sex was great, he probably will come back. Doesn't mean he's seriously interested in you, it just means he wants to hold on to this great sex. The correct advice to me is don't have sex on the first date because you need time to evaluate what you're dealing with. And doing it so soon can blind you. Sex can easily cloud your judgment. So forget him for a second. Forget his respect. Now listen, there are men out there who will not respect you or not call you if you have sex with them too soon. There are tons of other men who don't care, all right? So you never know what you're gonna get. So to me, worrying about what the man's perception is pointless. Think about how you handled this. Can you properly evaluate this man if you have sex on the first date? Are you gonna be okay if you have sex on the first date and he doesn't call you the next day? See, for me, and this is aside from any spiritual beliefs, because again, we can talk about wait until marriage, but I understand that most people aren't waiting that long.
Yeah, assuming it's not a religious reason or...
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
So I always say, don't have sex for a woman until you are comfortable with what happens next. All right? Because some women are not having sex out of their own desire for it. They're doing it because I want him to like me. I want this to move forward. You know, I'm just enjoying this moment so much. I don't want to mess this up. Let's just go with this flow. They're not truly comfortable. And what a lot of women don't realize is this can backfire in multiple ways. One, again, you had sex with him too soon before you realize he was not serious about you. All right? And now it doesn't proceed to anything else, and now you feel cheated and used. All right? Also, I want to be very sensitive of how I say this because somebody mentioned to me that some women might take this to heart too much. If you have sex on the first date, or any time, at any point, the sex now comes into the equation in evaluating if I want to deal with you. If you as a woman are not truly comfortable yet, your performance won't be as great as you think it'll be. Now, this whole thing can be derailed by a misunderstanding sexually. So think about it like this, and it happens with men too. If a man, let's say, is very anxious to have sex with this woman, and he does it before he's gathered himself properly, and now he's 1 minute in and it's done, right? So the quality is horrible. And now he's this great guy, but she's like, man, this sex is so bad, I don't want to move forward. But sex is something that you can learn to be better at. This idea, and that's the other reason why this whole sexual chemistry thing is it's misguided in certain aspects. And that's why connection to me is the foundation to it all. Because as long as there's connection, we can work this out. If there's no connection, then you're right. The sex may just be you don't align with each other. But the point I'm gonna make is that in moving too fast and going too soon, if we're not comfortable and confident in that experience, we may have a bad experience. And now our ability to come together is derailed because we're holding on to the fact that the sex wasn't that great. And in today's society, a lot of people don't want to work on trying to learn each other. And again, if we don't have a connection yet, we don't have the desire to want to push past this. Now, I will say, there are tons of women who get with a man even when the sex is bad. It's one of those things that's happening a lot, all right? I've had women who were in relationships for 2-3 years. Man swore he was doing it big in the bedroom, and the whole time she never had an orgasm with him, nothing. It wasn't that great, but she didn't want to pass up a great guy.
And she wasn't communicating with him, so she was just kind of staying quiet about
Exactly. And so that's another problem with sex very soon. Have you established the ability to communicate about things? Because if you have sex too soon, it's not that great, but you're afraid to mess this situation up. You figure, I'm not gonna make any complaints, I'm not gonna say anything. But now you have to bite your tongue for date 3, date 4. Now we're months into the relationship, years, and you've never told him the truth. And now you feel like you can't. And so now, even though you're holding on to this great guy, the sex is bad. And without great sex, we are severely hindering this relationship and the potential for success. It will fall apart. Bottom line is, if the sex isn't good, it's going to fall apart at some point. All right? All that because you jumped too fast without establishing certain foundational principles needed for long-term success. Now, if you're just trying to have a casual relationship, this is a whole different story.
Right.
But if you're trying to have something real, something sustainable, it is best to wait. But I just think the whole he won't call you, that's not the way we should be looking at it.
Yeah, I love the way you broke it down. And I think for me, it was in that moment, I had seen it. My first day with my husband, it was going to be a summer fling. I had to go back to England. He was American. It's not like I actually thought my life would end up the way it was or the way it has been. And so to me, it was a fling. But I was like, I really want to kind of like just hang out for the next couple of weeks, have a lot of fun. I was like, well, but I was very attracted to him. And so the only reason why, if I'm going to be honest, the only reason why I didn't sleep with him on the first date is because I was worried that I wouldn't see me on the second date. It wasn't that I didn't want to. I was extremely sexually attracted to him. So I made the decision based on the fear that I'd been told would happen that you're saying is actually false.
Exactly. But here's the thing. I remember someone said to me one time, plenty of men have not gotten with a woman because she had sex with him too soon. But I've never heard of a man not being with a woman who waited to have sex with him. If he's really into you, if he had to wait 3 months and everything's great, he's not walking away because, oh, well, she made me wait 3 months, so I'm gone now. If he walks away, he was never really that into you and it was never gonna go anywhere, all right? But basically what I'm really trying to get at is you're still safer waiting.
Right.
You're less likely to be penalized by waiting. You're more likely to be penalized by moving too fast. I've even seen examples of, here's the other thing that women don't consider, but again, I don't want this to be a reason why she doesn't do it, because going back to your experience, you see, you were worried about he won't see me again tomorrow. I'm still okay with that, because again, that means you were not ready to have sex yet, because God forbid if he didn't see you tomorrow, then you would have been heartbroken.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
I would rather you be at a point where it's like, okay, you know what? So rewinding back to where you thought it was gonna be a fling. If you went into it saying, I just wanna have some fun, I'm attracted to this guy, I just wanna do it, whatever happens, happens. Cool, do your thing. Because now, if it doesn't progress, you don't feel like you're robbed. So basically, the woman should do it when it's about the experience itself, not what surrounds the experience. Once you start attaching things to it, now you muddy up the situation. And now if this man doesn't meet whatever your expectations were, you feel cheated and used. Same thing happens with men and money. When a man spends a lot of money on a woman so fast trying to impress her and it doesn't turn into anything, he feels like I got used. But he doesn't complain if the sex happens too fast. He doesn't feel used that way.
It's so interesting though that we both sides have that thing.
Yes, it's just different.
Yeah.
For women, it is typically sex. For men, it is typically money. And so, yeah, I think that, you know, again, with waiting, it's just a matter of doing what's best for you, what you can handle. Also being honest with yourself. If you're a woman that knows you get very attached after having sex, you should think twice about having sex too soon. You would want to establish, okay, do we have a relationship here? Like, to me, that's the woman that should wait till at least a relationship is official. Because, again, do you want to become attached to a man who's never going to be with you? This is where it becomes a problem. But it's about being honest with yourself. Some women can handle it. Some women can't. It's like dating multiple men. Some women can handle dating multiple men at the same time and still navigate it with no problem, evaluate each man efficiently, she's good. Other women get overwhelmed by that. It's too much, it's distracting, they can't fully get into it, so they shouldn't do it. So when society says just date as many men as you want to, no, date as many men as you can handle. Have sex when you can handle it. You see? So that you know that you can be okay no matter what happens in this situation.